Welcome to RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Sam Allman.
I'm Bernard.
And I'm Trish.
And today we will be discussing all of the games that we played in 2023-ish. Not just new releases, but all the stuff that we played and liked. It's our Game of the Year special, but we're a retro podcast, so very few of these games will have come out this year. But before we get to all of that, how is everyone's week?
So this last Thursday, so a few days ago from the time of recording, was my 2-year anniversary with Marie, one of the partners I'm living with. And to celebrate, we decided to finally do something that we've been talking about doing for ages. Namely, about 30 minutes away from here, there's a lesbian bar.
Ooh.
And we hadn't visited. I wanted to. I don't have a great track record with bars. That I just don't. I'm not good at socializing in general in the first place, and when you add it being kind of dark and very loud, not a great combo. But we went, and it was all those things. It was a bar, but we had a good time. I wish I'd remembered to bring my earplugs so we could have stayed longer than 2 hours before I started having auditory issues. But we socialized successfully. We got a good grade in socializing. I tried a fun mixed drink called Girl of My Dreams. Their fries were really good. Learned more about the area, and it was just really cool. Also, there were so many cute girls there. Like, holy crap. There were so many cute girls.
I love that.
Nice.
It was wonderful. I want to go back again another time. I also found out there's an arcade nearby within walking distance of the bar that is like you go in, you pay like a $7 cover fee, and there's fuck tons of pinball and other kinds of games you can all just, it's an arcade. And I'm like, that sounds dope as hell. I want to do that. That sounds like fun.
Speaking of that, there's a place opening up near, like within walking distance of my home, which is really weird because I don't live in a walkable area, but it's like really close. That the sign says arcade and bar, and I'm wondering what sort of arcade. Like, will it have good shit? Because if it had good shit, that'd be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the barcade up here on Willie Street in Madison, called IO, is really, really good. They have a giant Queen Bee, Killer Queen.
Oh, Killer Queen, I think it's called.
Yeah, they have a
the
full
cool one.
Yeah, have a full 10-player setup there, and it's so cool. It is very, very nice. It's no pinballs. Pinballs still is probably the coolest arcade that I've gone to because it's just extensive amounts of like deep catalog stuff. But IO has a much smaller selection, but their selection is very, very good. There's also some game, I can't remember what it's called right now, but it has only 4 colors: black, white, purple, and green, and you each play wizards that are playing soccer, but you have wizard powers. And
that's amazing.
It is one of these like new retro style arcade games, kind of like Killer Queen is, and it is quick and fast and eats quarters, and it's so much fun. I love it so much. If I remember what it's called, I will add it to the list of the main section that we're doing tonight because I played it for the first time this year. But yeah, arcades are cool.
Yeah, I'll report back once I have a chance to visit. It's called Free Play bar and arcade. Oh, it's also a bar and arcade. Oh.
Is the game you were talking about called Death Ball? Because I just Googled Wizard Soccer arcade game, and that's the first thing that came up.
I think that's the one. It looks
you
like,
and an adversarial wizard do battle to the death with arcade soccer platforming action for the magical implement known only as the Death Ball.
Yeah, it's really good.
Cool. I was just going to say, the only other thing I've got going on with my week, and it's not really of my week, but a previous to week, I have applied for more jobs, one of which is giving me an interview, it looks like, this upcoming week. I'm not like ecstatic about it because it's basically the exact same job I left in California, but it is also a job and I need money, so I will take it.
Jobs are, unfortunately, the way you get money.
Unfortunately. Hopefully the fact that I have like 3 years of experience working this exact job will be enough for them to be like, oh, hey, we should hire you. But you know.
Yeah. My week, I don't even remember it. I feel like it was Christmas yesterday, and it is New Year's tomorrow. So, yeah, I know what I've been doing all week and why I can't remember anything. I've been playing Rune Factory 5 like stupid amounts.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, I
Question mark?
yeah, it's very very fun. It just uh we'll get into it later because it's really good.
Oh.
But uh it is not malicious in the way that it eats your time like Valley is, but it is a lot slower of days of Stardew Valley, so it tricks me into being like, oh, I'll just do one more day. I'll stay up for 13 more minutes, but the days are like an hour, so I stay up for way too long. But the other thing that I did this week is I read a crapload of the Frugal Wizard's Guide to Surviving Medieval England, and turns out the guy's not a cop. It's actually kind of an anti-cop thing by the end of it. It's not like a full-on like cops suck, but the cops are bad guys at the end. Like
Okay.
the only cops that actually make it into it. It's the um it's kind of like the Bourne Identity. He starts the book where he doesn't remember anything, and he's trying to remember things from his past as he goes through. And at the point I was when we recorded last week, he remembered that he was a cop because he remembered going to the police academy, but he was kicked out of the police academy and had been living a life of crime and was kind of like a low rung mafia dude. And so he basically is like, oh, I'm this hero, I need to do everything. Oh, I realize I'm actually a piece of shit, but I'm going to be a hero anyways. And the Sander Lanch at the end was super fantastic and really good. But
Hey.
yeah, it still is probably I haven't read much of the next two, but I've read like 4 chapters out of each of them, and this one's probably the worst out of the 4. But
That's what I've heard.
But of all books, I would still probably put it top 25% books.
Oh, wow.
So I've read a lot of books, so top 25% is not like the top 25 by any means.
I was gonna say, I thought you meant top 25%. I was like, holy crap. Okay,
No.
25%.
You did say of all books, so
yeah,
there's a lot of books.
Yes.
Speaking of books, actually, now that you bring up books, I forgot about talking about this. I recently picked up some new books from the library. I picked up Gideon the Ninth, which I'm gonna finally try. I'm gonna finally try that, and I've been hearing so many good things. I've got Jasmine Throne, book by let me get up so I can check the author's name. Tashi Suri. It is a India-inspired fantasy book that is queer, and it sounds neat as hell, and I really want to read it. And then the one I have started reading, and I'm about a third, half-ish of the way through, is This Is How You Lose the Time War by Amal El Motar and Max Gladstone. Since it's the one I've actually been reading, I can just say this book is incredible so far. I'm so fucking intrigued. It is a twin narrative. It has 2 authors because they're 2 different character narratives, each author handling one of them, who are agents in a time war, each from a different possible future, each of them working diligently to try and make sure their future is the only future that happens. And they are each the only person on the other side the other respects, or like they're developing a camaraderie through their indirect noticing what the other one does, and so they start leaving letters for each other. It's
adorable.
It's adorable. I've described it as gayer than gay sex. It's very both agents are women, I should say. So it's a sapphic, longing, yearning love story, while also just being. I would describe it as it reminds me a lot of House of Leaves, in the sense of being. What's the word? It's surreal on the edge of absurdism. It's not at absurdist level. It's not past that line, but it's up to it, to where it's not just weird and strange, but it's very tongue-in-cheek. It's having fun, and it's just a blast to read. And it also just I'm very intrigued with where it's going.
I
Heavily
haven't
recommending it.
I haven't been reading anything recently, but someone I follow on social media started reading Moby Dick for the first time and is losing their mind. And I'm like, man, I should reread Moby Dick. I love that book.
Oh, that reminds me, I picked up to complete my uh my Maddie and Bernard won't shut up about this book collection. I now have a copy of The Great Gatsby, Moby Dick,
Yes.
and Jonathan Strange and Dr. Norrell. So I have all
Yes.
three now.
I do love one of
Yes.
those books.
Which one do you love?
I have a lot of affection for Great Gatsby. It's been
I
years since I
love
read it.
Great Gatsby.
I read Moby Dick when I was way too young to understand it, and I'm curious if I would read it now if I'd enjoy it. Jonathan Strange and Mr. Knurl is just a book I've heard about but have not had the chance to dig into as of yet.
So, Moby Dick, I'm still too young to understand it. But it's just beautiful and captivating, and I would recommend listening to an audiobook of it because I feel like I haven't tried just reading it on paper, but I feel like I would get too bogged down in like what each individual sentence means instead of just letting all the prose wash over me and
Mhm.
I understand like 85% of it,
Mm-hmm.
but that's enough and it's great. I'm trying to remember who read the audiobook version that I really like of it. Maddie Grace actually listened to another one recently and said it was also really good, but I don't know. If anyone's interested, I can figure that out.
Awesome. Speaking of things that Maddie Grace has been trying to make me do forever, I also listened to Five Iron Frenzy's Engines of a Million Plots this week, and Maddie's right. It's probably their best album. It's really, really good. It is a Five Iron Frenzy album for people who like music, but not necessarily for people who like Five Iron Frenzy. Like their stuff has usually all been so tongue in cheek and like very pop punky and things like that. You have to swallow a big pill of okay, this is their like the things are sadder and darker and harder to go through because this Engine of Million Plots is their first one not as a straight up Christian band. It is a band with a lot of Christians but also with a lot of non-Christians in it, and a lot of the lyrics deal with that duality of like what does it mean to like question your faith, how do you give it up, how do you find it even though everybody else has given it up, etc., etc. It's very 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 different from the rest of their stuff, but it was very very good. I really really enjoyed it. It's kind of like when Blink released Untitled. It's like sometimes when bands go dark it's bad, and sometimes when bands go dark it's their best stuff, and this is also true with Five Iron Frenzy. Is that
I
all
don't
three of
know.
us?
I don't know what a Five Iron Frenzy is.
They're a ska punk band from back in the day.
I know of them through an ex of mine who grew up Christian and so knew Five Iron Frenzy, and
Yep.
there's a couple individual Five Iron Frenzy songs I could pick out and be like, oh, that one's really good. But not a Five Iron Frenzy fan personally.
Yeah,
even though I
uh,
love ska.
yeah, of their old stuff, I enjoyed it when I was of the time because a lot of it is very very silly, but like 4 or 5 songs have stayed with me in my grown-up years, but almost all of Engine I would enjoy. So if you like ska and you don't necessarily like Five Iron Frenzy, you should check out Five Iron Frenzy's Engine of a Million Plots, Trish. Maybe you'd like it.
Maybe.
But was that everybody? Did we all talk about our week?
I don't
I think
know if I
so.
went, but nothing happened.
Nothing happened? Okay.
Cool. So yeah, we'll listen to our favorite podcast song of the year. And by our favorite, I mean Bernard's, because he's going to be editing this episode and I'm not going to double check him on what he puts here. But we'll listen to that and then we'll talk about our games of our year 2023.
I have to choose a song from every song.
I'm gonna Star Power from Slow RPG. I'm gonna put that forward.
1, 2, 3, 4.
All right, so I did not rank any of these things. I gave them all superlatives, and I have quite a few. So we're just gonna free ball it, that sounds super gross. That's not the
That's not
thing.
Giving you a look right now, man.
We're just gonna
freestyle.
freestyle it. There you go. I don't know. Whatever. my brain is an enigma. So we're just gonna talk about stuff. Who wants to go first?
Well, it sounds like y'all both did superlatives. I didn't. I don't have any superlatives to give. I just am looking at my backlogged list of games I beat this year and pondering them.
Cool. Which one are you pondering first?
Well, Tales of Fantasia is the worst game I played this year.
Hell yeah. Mine too. And I've played some stinkers.
I'm realizing that there were I played a lot of games for this podcast and we started Final Fantasy VII last year, but we finished it in March, and that was amazing. Final Fantasy VII, better than I remember it. We also, very close to that, we finished The Legend of Heroes Trails from Zero, which fantastic game. We should probably play Trails to Azure sometime.
Yeah, we're going to finish it in 2024. That's our podcast New Year's resolution.
Okay.
Is it okay for me to play it if I've played no Trails of game? Oh, wait, I've played some of Cold Steel and that was it.
Absolutely not.
Definitely. So not Azure. Zero, probably. It's not the best start, but it would be an okay start because it's kind of off in its own corner of everything. But the people that say that you should start at Sky and go chronologically are correct.
The thing is, Trails from
But
Zero
I have a great desire to stick my middle fingers up at that kind of. This is how you play it. Again, I started with Stormlight Archive and the Cosmere. I do what I want.
It's true.
The thing is, Trails from Zero generally is an okay place to start, but there is a really good subplot that is a direct continuation of a subplot in Trails in the Sky.
Yeah.
So that really, I feel, benefits a lot from having played Trails in the Sky. And Trails in the Sky is so good anyway.
Yeah.
It's like, you should play it anyway, so why not I'll play them all in order.
And the most important reason to play them all in order is the quality of life and systems changes as you go forward, because they are not crazy different. But if I had to, like at this point, if I had to go backwards and have just the orbment system from Trails in the Sky first chapter, I would kind of hate it. Like I'd be missing too many of the customization options and stuff like that I have in the new one. And I would definitely be missing a lot more of the turn bonuses that we have now that weren't there in the original. It's definitely one of those games that it adds on. So starting at the beginning, not only storyline will make a lot of sense, but I feel it would be weird and frustrating to go from the very polished, we've done this for 10 games system to go back to when they were first shaking the rust off of it. It's
Makes
the first
sense.
one, so that's not the phrase. I don't know why I try to say idioms on this fucking podcast. I can't do any of them.
Well, I for some reason remembering something about a game breaking its mechanics over its own back or something.
Yes.
So, I'm trying to think of a superlative for. I played Parappa the Rapper for the first time this year,
Ooh, I still need to play that.
and I think the superlative is game that Joker-fied me the most because it's a rhythm game. I'm already not good at rhythm games, but it is insanely difficult. I'm pretty sure a lot of the actual rhythms don't match up or make sense. And so then I went on YouTube and was like, Parappa the Rapper perfect run or whatever, because I wanted to see what a perfect run looked like. I think I was actually stuck on the cooking level, which apparently is notorious. So I looked up that one. And it turns out you're supposed to freestyle, which I'm putting that in quotes because I'm putting it in scare quotes because that's a weird concept for this, not to make fun of Sam. You freestyle, which means just like mashing the buttons in a weird way. And
What?
Parappa just sort of makes sounds, and it sounds terrible, but everyone's like, you're a rap god. And
What the hell?
I hate it.
it Joker-fied me. The game is still an absolute masterpiece of graphic design and audio design and stuff, but it did turn me into the Joker.
I see. Well, I'm
Yeah.
sorry it turned you into the Joker. That sucks.
So that's one superlative from me. Does anyone else want to do a superlative?
I'm not doing superlatives. I have awards to give out.
All right.
I'm gonna give to start with my podcast favorite award to Skies of Arcadia for being of games I have tried for the podcast so far since my very first ever guest hosting. Skies of Arcadia wins favorite one so far. Apologies to Persona 2 and Wild Arms 5, the 5th Vanguard. But but Skies of Arcadia was just such a delight from start to finish. It was, again, this is a game we talked about on the show, so I don't want to like get into it a ton, but it was such a good time. It was a adventure, a romp. It was all of these fun things while also just like not doing things, not playing with certain tropes that would have made me annoyed. As we've talked about extensively, the fact that there's no jealousy sort of thing between the two quote unquote love interests, and in fact, it feels much more like a throuple. It feels like there's some polyamory going on. Just a delight from start to finish. Really fun. The only downsides really being, sometimes there's some bits that just go, culturally, this is not great. I don't feel good about any of this. But if you completely ignore that bit and just focus on the fun characters and the fun combat and it just being a good time, it's a great time. I really loved it. We will have to play a damn good game on this podcast to ever beat that out for being my favorite one this podcast has introduced me to.
Yeah, Skies
Sam?
of Arcadia is gets my award for game that is better than I remember from my childhood.
Which is a tough thing to do.
Yeah, that doesn't happen often for people, but it happened for me with Skies of Arcadia.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll do one. Along a similar vein, my award for the best RPG maker I played, RPG maker game I played this year is Super Lesbian Animal RPG.
It's so good. It broke that RPG maker over its own back.
I have words to say about this
you knew
game.
how the cheese was made.
I
Oh,
I have words to
yes.
say about this game. Obviously, I'm saving that for later. But
You
I will
can-
just nod my head in solidarity.
You can say what award you're giving it. We can just dive into it now.
Fuck it. Okay. This game gets the award for strongest impact on my soul. Sometimes you encounter a piece of art and you kind of realize at some point in the process that this is going to be stamped onto the fabric of your being for the rest of your life, and it's just never going to be able to be taken away from you. And that was Super Lesbian Animal RPG this year, more than any other video game, more than any other piece of art, really. It is just, it's an RPG Maker game. It is simple in a lot of ways. It could be better in many ways. We've talked about areas where it feels like there's just like less content than there should be, or areas where like it's just like missing a little extra thing here. But screw all of that. It just makes me happy. It brings me such unfathomable joy, and I am more of myself because I played this game.
Yeah. One thing I really, really liked about it. So, in addition to all of the cool mechanics that they managed to do out of a fight magic items basic ass RPG Maker engine,
Yeah.
is it's doing an Undertale without it not being an RPG at the same time. It's like it's about feelings, and you have the evil version of yourself, and you have all of these, like, we're trying to say something that Undertale, etc., have made really, really popular in the indie RPG space, but it didn't shy away from being an actual RPG where you do it. Where a lot of them, like Off and Space Funeral and Undertale, even, all of them are like, we're going to use the trappings of an RPG, but the RPG part is not necessarily the focus, and it's not necessarily important to us. But this one is like, no, when I went and fought a new boss, I was like, cool, I'm going to fight a new boss. And then I had a 30-minute cutscene where two girlfriends are trying to make up because they had a fight earlier, and the two things are very, very good together. And I didn't have to lose one to gain the other or something.
Yeah, that is also one thing that really impressed me about Super Lesbian Animal RPG. I love that it is both a feelings game and a mechanics game, because I love both of those things, and getting them both at the same time is really cool.
Is there another game you're pondering on your list, Bernard?
Let's see. Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga gets the award for game from my childhood that's not nearly as good as I remember.
Yeah,
It kind of suck.
yeah, I played that game for the first time this year as well. I did it for the JRPG canon, and it's fine, but it's not
fine.
Yeah, it's not like, it unfortunately is a Mario RPG, and Super Mario RPG and Paper Mario and Paper Mario Thousand Year Door are all super freaking fantastic and kind of some of the best RPGs. So it just being fine makes it suck.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like the battles are less mechanically interesting than Mario RPG and Paper Mario, and a lot of the scenarios sort of feel like chores, and there's a lot of not very good mandatory mini games.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just surprised that this game has graphics this good, music this good, a Luigi this gay, and yet I still don't really like the overall product.
You didn't enjoy playing jump rope?
Oh, I
No,
hated that
not
jump rope game.
particularly, no.
You didn't like collecting all the coins so you could pay the fare to get into the country?
I find that to be a funny gag. But yeah.
Yeah, no. It's a yeah. My next one, I have the yes, I finally played this and it was incredible award, which goes to Disco Elysium.
Ooh.
Took me so long to play this game, but I have. And like, yeah, it's a fantastic work of art. It deserves every ounce of praise it's ever gotten. I think I will say in order to try to avoid saying things that I know so many people, other people have said about this game, because I cannot even comprehend how many words have been said about this game. It's an ocean. I will just say that I'd heard bits and pieces of this game going into it. What I didn't expect, well, I didn't expect the cosmic horror elements. I had not been spoiled that it was a cosmic horror story at the edges, which that
Nice.
was fun. But more than that, that it was a mystery, that it was a murder mystery, and that there was detectiving to be done, and that it would feel so good to do. Like, I love the Ace Attorney series. I've played a lot of mystery games. I enjoy the mystery genre. This was something really fresh and interesting in that genre, even when you leave aside the psychological aspects and the social commentary and the political commentary and all of the other things. It's also just a damn good mystery story that is engaging to play.
Yeah, I have been very much meaning to play it, and I still have not. But I was listening to Acts of the Blood Gods PAX panel from a hot minute ago on their podcast, and they were doing a like a fantasy football draft, but they were creating an RPG using bits and pieces from other RPGs, and they were doing a draft. And for the party, they the first person was like, well, I have to steal this before everyone else does. My party is going to be Disco Elysium. And the crowd was like erupted, and everybody was like, oh, damn it. And I'm like, I didn't know you had a party in that game. I only ever thought there was just like a dude doing a detectiving, but apparently not only are there other characters, they're so good that a room full of RPG fans were like, oh my god, that's the correct pick that you picked Disco Elysium for best party.
It is. Even if most of the game it's usually just one person, it was the correct choice.
Yeah. So I definitely want to play it fairly soon.
I recommend it.
Speaking of mystery games, that makes me really want to play Disco Elysium because I love mystery games. I didn't play this one this year, but it's a game that I have to recommend whenever I have a chance to, because I've not yet successfully gotten anyone to play it. But have y'all heard of Paradise Killer?
I've heard of it. I've never played it.
I have it downloaded to my Steam Deck after your previous recommendation. And then also Brandon Sheffield on Insert Credit, he said somebody broke into his brain and made a game just for him. And he has a very stupid TurboGrafx 16 brain, and so do I. So I'm very excited for that.
Bernard, I have my fingers steepled in front of me right now. Please explain to me why I should play this game.
So Paradise Killer, it's like, so it's this really weird, it's basically a locked room murder mystery. You're the detective trying to figure it out, but it has the weirdest, wildest world building ever. It takes place in, like, I'm trying to remember the exact details of the world building. It takes place like in this paradise dimension that like these, I'm trying to remember what they're actually called. They're sort of like gods. It's basically like a ruling class that exists over humanity, and they're all sicko freaks and all very hot, and they all stand in JoJo poses constantly. And you have to figure out which one killed the people. And some people say it's sort of just like a collectathon, like you just have to collect all the clues, but you do have to piece things together yourself and try and figure it out. And it's just a really fun, interesting mystery. And the graphics are bizarre and beautiful. The music is bizarre and beautiful. I just love it. But I didn't actually play it this year. I played it like when it came out, so we probably shouldn't keep talking about it.
Okay.
Too bad
the more
we're
you
going to.
Well, the thing is, you've talked about this, and I was like, wait a second. I was like, the more you talked to me, I was like, what did I? And I looked it up. I've read about this game. I really need to freaking play it though, because yeah, it sounds insane in the
It is,
best way.
it is absolutely bonkers.
It also seems really gay.
It is extremely bisexual.
Extremely bisexual. Okay, yeah, yeah.
Um, so related. This is a game I did not play this year, but it is a game that I saw the announcement in a Nintendo Direct, said that's stupid, threw it out, and then after reviews, I was like, oh wait, no, never mind, I want to do it, and that's Paranormasight. It's the Square Enix mystery visual novel that came out apparently during one of their blunderbusses they did this year, where they just released like 40 games at the same time. And the thing that made me really interested in to what you do is everybody has basically a superpower that lets them kill somebody, and you, a detective, have to solve mysteries related to that. And one of the first ones, so this isn't a spoiler, it's very quickly at the beginning of the game, his power is that if you hear him talking, he's already won. He can kill anybody who has heard him talk. So you solve that case by going into the options menu and not selecting English voices or Japanese voices, but you put no voices. So then you just read that conversation, and he's like, "Why isn't it working? Why can't I kill you?" And then you can continue the thing.
Oh
And
my
there's
god,
God.
I
that
love it.
that sort of thing is like so cool. And even if it ends up just being like okay story wise, I feel it'll be a fun visual novel to play if they're willing to pull that out as one of the first cases of the game. So
Okay, I have to. So you are a bastard. You have told me about this game. I'm going to have to get and play this game at some point. I
yeah,
am so immediately intrigued.
yeah,
Hell yes.
I am also very intrigued. It is, I have a list of visual novels I want to get through as a late night before bed game, and I'm still working through Danganronpa 3, but after that I'm probably going to play either Paradise Killer or Paranormasight above Isomnium Files, which I've heard is amazing and one of the best ones in forever. But these other two I gotta play first.
Man, there
Amazing.
are so many of those types of games that I want to play, but how far are you in Danganronpa V3?
No one has died yet.
Okay.
I mean,
it is a
the
very long opening.
yeah, the
It
preamble
does.
in that game is very long, but it's
It
very
is, but
good
it's
in my
worth it
opinion.
because same because best cast in the series. I'm sorry, I don't want to get started on V3. Should I do my next award?
Real quick about Danganronpa, because I did play
Yes.
that this year, so it counts. We're on topic again. We did it. We
Okay.
got back to
Yes.
on topic.
Yay!
I am just after the side scrolling platformer section where you
Yes.
quote unquote get the good ending if you're really good at the stupid ass game. I
It's the worst. I love it.
I tried it the two times you have to try it, but then I also reloaded my save just to see, and tried it two more times, and I gave up after that point, but I'm just after that. That's where I am in the game. It's a fairly
Okay.
long preamble,
Mhm.
but yeah. Someone else say one. What's another game we did this year?
Game that I played, fell in love with, would probably be my game of the year, but I didn't even finish like the first section of it, even though I played the shit out of it, just because it's so huge, and is Baldur's Gate 3, obviously.
Oh, that was my next one too. Awesome. I have two. It's my only game on here I have two awards for. I have most technical difficulties award because goddamn, I think this game has issues with technical problems even running it normally, but I'm running it on a crappy laptop, which has its own challenges. And then the fact I'm also modding it, and every time I finish getting it perfectly set up with mods and working, they release a new patch and it ruins everything. Most technical difficulties. And my second award for Baldur's Gate 3 is the I think I have COVID award. This is a reference to a Tumblr meme.
Yes.
In a way, you could say this is the Sapphic Love Award. Carlock is the best woman in all of 2023 in video games, in media, maybe life, existence. I don't know. I'm in lesbians with her, and she's the best.
See,
There are a lot of good girls in that game, but
I never even met Carlock or the vampire.
oh God, you should. They're great.
The game is too big.
It is very big.
And I just ended up sort of falling off it for no particular reason. I think I just like got to a part where I was stuck on some battles for a while. And yeah, I ended up just not going back and finishing those battles. I want to start over, but also I want to like play Baldur's Gate 3 and do nothing but play Baldur's Gate 3 for a month.
Yeah, fair.
Speaking of tabletop playing games and their video game adaptations, my award for the best thing that's not a video game but it feels like a video game and kind of actually is a video game, if Jackbox counts as a video game, then this is a video game, is Foundry Tabletop playing Pathfinder 2E. It is so good at what it does. The like Pathfinder is really, really fun, but it has a lot of fiddly bits, and having something that automates all of the fiddly bits and makes it look and feel like you're actually doing a dungeon and things. It's just, I was resistant to doing an online tabletop for years, mostly because Roll20 is garbage, and that was the only one for so long. And so I hadn't actually done it, and then this last session we did for the first time in Foundry, and it was so freaking good.
That's great. I have an award to give to Roll20. It's I Hate You, Please Stop Existing award.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's really bad.
It's not intuitive, and Foundry
No.
is very intuitive, and that's why I really, really like it.
That's wonderful. I'm glad that Foundry has been better for you.
Because I have so many, I want to throw out a couple really, really small ones that we won't have a lot to talk about. So
you do that.
My best completed game that has spent the longest on my backlog game is Magi Nation for the Game Boy Color. I started playing this for the first time in 2006, and I loved it. And I lost my Game Boy, and I could not ever beat it. And I kept meaning to go back and finally play it. And I would play the opening, and the opening's great, and I would do that and then forget about it. But when I got my 353 V, I was like, oh, I'm going to finally play it. And I did finally play it, and it rules all the way through.
Yay!
It's fantastic. Speaking of which, the RG353V wins my best gaming habit changer. I now don't just surf Twitter, though no one does. When I'm bored and have 5 minutes, I just pull out my 353V and I play 4 or 5 minutes of a video game, and it's super duper cool. Related is Aretha the Famicom. I've talked about it a lot, but it has the best sprites for the mediumist game. That's the award that it wins. The sprites are the main reason why I continue to play it. The plot is basically nothing. The overworld sprites are okay. The battle system is confusingly weird. It's like they made the part that shouldn't be complicated, and none of the other parts are complicated, so it kind of just it exists. But the sprites are fantastic, and that's why I love it. And then my final one of these quick little fast ones is Futariwa Precure Max Heart for the Game Boy Advance is the best dumb licensed platformer for the GBA that I played this year. It's not great. It's a licensed platformer for the GBA, but there are a lot of really bad licensed platformers for the GBA. So this one being fun the whole way through makes it stand out amongst its peers.
Wonderful. I'm gonna go next. I'm gonna say Mod of the Year award. my mod of the year award goes to Fallout Who Vegas, a mod for Fallout New Vegas, which adds Doctor Who stuff into the game. It's ridiculous and lovely, and I haven't come even really close to scratching what the mod adds yet. It's one of those insane mods that adds a billion things to the game. The thing I'm going to give it the most credit for is that it isn't as simple as you go into a TARDIS and you're like, oh yeah, I want to go here. It's like no. It's gonna be like you have to turn on. I have somewhere on my desk. I have the list of instructions on how to get the TARDIS to start working, because you need that. It's
That's
like
amazing.
you need to use the helmet regulator and then activate the space-time throttle and then disengage the locking down mechanism and then release the time rotor. And it's like you're moving around the console having to hit all these buttons and flip these switches, and then if you're doing it without autopilot, it becomes a little like it's like almost not like a rhythm game, but like it'll highlight at certain points in the flight different things that you need to go hit to make sure you get there safely. And it's just lovely. Like it going the extra mile to give silly names to all the bits of the TARDIS console and to make you have to walk around it using all of them in order to fly it is an excellent choice, and I adore it.
That's fantastic. I should play that one before I play Fallout New Vegas so I can be a fake queer.
uh, Bernard,
Yeah.
you got any left?
The award for game I completed this year, which was a new release, the only one, is Super Mario RPG Remake.
Yay!
Yeah. Really good. My main complaint really is just that some of the animations don't hit, because like when it should be like when the characters fall down comically, it should be they're standing and then the next frame they're on the ground, but instead they have in between frames and it just doesn't look as good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's mostly just fantastic.
Well, I'm very
Also,
glad to hear that.
a lot of the new arrangements of the music aren't great, but you can turn on the old music if you want.
That's
so
good. Yeah, and contrary to when everybody stopped listening to the episode, me and Trish actually really liked the game. We talk about all of the things we don't like up front, and everybody rage quit out of the episode. But if you listen all the way to the end, that when playing that game broke my brain in a good way, because I accidentally said the phrase in the podcast that fun is better than good, and that kind of just bled out into my entire life. And it like I almost want to get it like tattooed on me now, like it just as my life mantra that fun is better than good. And yeah, I definitely want to play the remake. I have the remake downloaded to my Switch. I haven't started it yet, but I'm going to complete that game.
I would love to do that at some point. Unfortunately, once I get money, likely from getting a job, I am going to be legally required to first buy the new Mario game, because I am a huge Mario platform fanatic, and the fact that I still haven't played this new one is slowly driving me insane, and I need it. It's a bodily need.
That one's on my list. Would you like me to talk about it now to make you need it even harder?
Sure, go ahead. I'll be totally normal, I promise.
So, Super Mario Wonder, I don't have a good best for it, but it is the game that has used 3D graphics to be sprites the best ever. It has it solves the problem that Bernard was just talking about. Like a lot of the new Super Mario Brothers games have 8,000 too many frames in it, and Super Mario Wonder, you need to jump, you're gonna go into that perfect Super Mario Brothers 2 cover art Mario pose, and you're gonna get there real quick, real fast, and it because of a lot of things like that, it looks and feels like a Super Mario game in a way that New Super Mario Brothers didn't. And I am a New Super Mario Brothers defender, and I have liked every single one of them, starting from New Super Mario Bros. For the DS when a lot of people haven't. And this game knocks all of them out of the park. Like, no, blows them out of the water. It knocks the game out of the park. I did it. I corrected myself halfway through.
That's an interesting hill to die on, I say, standing on my hill, which is the best 3D Mario is Galaxy 2. You cannot change my opinion.
I don't. I do not know why I have not beaten Super Mario Brothers Wonder. I have played like the first few worlds. It is incredible. It's harder, more intricate, more it's more of a real ass game than New Super Mario Brothers, and I'm also a New Super Mario Brothers defender. And the graphics are incredible. The music and sound design are incredible. I love it so much. But for some reason, I am not compelled to sit down and play it.
I every time I sit down to play it, I play it for like 4 or 5 straight hours and lose the whole rest of everything I had planned for the day. But those don't happen as frequently as other games where I'm like Rune Factory 5, where I literally downloaded a bunch of Banjo-Kazooie Christmas hacks because there's a lot of them, and I downloaded those to have a nice, calm day after Christmas, relaxing, playing one of my favorite games in a way that is similar to the season that we're in. And I loaded up Room Factory 5 and played it for 12 hours. And Super Mario Brothers Wonder doesn't do that for me, but it, in the same way, I'm kind of knocking out like 3 of them at one time. In the same way that Tears of the Kingdom is, I know I have so much more Tears of the Kingdom I can play, so I'm not in a hurry to play it all. It's like, oh no, this is a well I want to keep going back to. And Super Mario Brothers Wonder is kind of like that, where it doesn't have my hooks in me where I absolutely need to finish it and play every game and get every single Wonder Seed, but every time I play it, I want to play it for a very long time.
I made the mistake of playing too much Tears of the Kingdom and then hitting a point where I had overdosed on it, and now I'm like waiting to be in a state where I want to play it again. Because I did not finish it.
I have not even touched Tears of the Kingdom.
It's very good.
I was so excited for it. I also have not touched Final Fantasy 16. I was so excited for it.
Yeah, I haven't played 16 at all this year.
One thing is that the weekend comes and it's time to play video games, and I play video games for this podcast.
Yeah.
At least we have a literal half as much of that to do every week.
So I'm gonna do a really bad segue and said one of you said something about Super Mario Wonder being more technically skill required, a more difficult real ass Mario experience. And that's my really bad segue to my next award, which is most improvement in ability over the course of the year award, which goes to Super Animal Royale, which is a free battle royale game on Steam that my one of my partners absolutely adores. Hi Keela, you're the sweetest, and I love you with all of my heart. I was playing it right before the podcast with her. It's very fun. It's 2D battle royale with cute animals, and you do unlockables and whatever. You can pay for it if you want to, which I'm not going to. It's very fun. I'm still not good, but I have definitely noticeably improved over the course of the year playing it, which makes me happy because I used to suck so bad that I felt bad playing with people because I felt like I was just getting them killed.
Yeah, that's how I feel when I play online shooters or anything. Like, I remember I made an attempt at some point to play Destiny. This was years ago. And I tried playing in the the PvP mode, and I ended up, what I would do is I would just stay at like one of the points that you have to capture. I would just stay there so that if someone came to capture the point, I would just slow them down a bit. Because if I tried to go out and do anything, I would just die immediately. But I could just sort of be a speed bump. I could manage that.
Yeah, that reminds me, speaking of playing online, earlier today, Storm was playing on my Switch, and he managed to get to playing Mario Kart 8 on playing online, and he got 11th place, which means that somebody out there, a 4-year-old, beat them at Mario Kart today.
It was probably a 3-year-old.
It was probably a 3-year-old. That just made me laugh, 'cause
Wonderful.
I saw that he was like in 11th place or whatever. It was like, oh, good job, and then the thing ended, and it showed like online rankings, and it was people's usernames and not like Toad, Yoshi, etc. I was like, oh my god, you beat somebody! Good job, little boy.
I played a lot of Mario Kart 8 this year.
I did too.
I decided I wanted to unlock all the gold shit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I decided I wanted to unlock Gold Mario.
Mm-hmm.
So I did all of the time trials for the base tracks and the original DLC tracks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like 48 tracks.
Mm-hmm.
I did all those time trials, and it unlocked like the gold wheels or something, and I was like, what? And so I looked at the guide I had looked at ages ago, and apparently I'd mixed it up in my brain, because that's not how you unlock Gold Mario. The way you unlock Gold Mario is by getting a gold trophy in every pre in 200cc. And I was like, shit.
Yeah,
Oh, jeez.
I'm not doing that.
I did it though.
Oh, awesome.
And it was hard, and it was fun, kind of, finding a new, because you're essentially playing a different video game when you're playing 200cc.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it was fun trying to figure it out. And one reason I actually went ahead and did that is that I often have my Switch. I live in a 2-story place, and usually my Switch is downstairs connected to the TV down there. And so I'll like be in the kitchen, I'll put some food in the oven or something, and then I'll go play Mario Kart 8 for like 20-30 minutes or something. So I ended up just doing it that way, and I did unlock Gold Mario.
Nice.
And
Very good.
I have completed without rage quitting, I think, 200cc courses, not even pre's.
Yeah,
it is.
It's wild. It actually
Man, I miss Mario Kart. I haven't played Mario Kart in so long.
doing the 200cc pre's was actually not as hard as doing the 150cc time trials, or staff ghosts, I guess I should say. That was hard. I had to play Dolphin Shoals so many times.
We mentioned it slightly talking about other things, but the next one I wanted to talk about is Tears of the Kingdom, just a little bit longer. That one wins my best whole chunk of a game that I didn't even know existed from all of the pre-release marketing, and that goes to the depths, the dark world of Tears of the Kingdom. It's fantastic. Like,
it's so wild and strange and weird and fun.
Like the the game does really good at like the stuff that you need to brave the depths are found on in the sky, and the thing that you need to fly through the sky is found on the ground, and the things that you need to do well on the ground is found in the depths. So you're constantly going through all of them. Or if you're like me, you're like, I just want to dive completely unprepared into this big dark abyss and just figure it out, and it like is really really hard and is not Zelda. Like I don't feel like I was playing Zelda when I was going through the depths.
Yeah, no, it's a different
just
feeling.
it was a very different feeling, and it was very very cool and very very good, and they literally didn't show a frame of anything underground besides just the fire temple, I think, in any of the pre-release marketing. So it was a complete surprise, and it was so awesome every time I did it. It has become my favorite dark world in all of Zelda's dark worlds, and Zelda has a lot of really good ones.
Now you're
And
making Princess Hilda from Low Rule feel bad.
yeah, that Low Rule is really really good. The Low Rule was probably my favorite one.
Listen,
Probably.
Low Rule at least gets big props from me for, I think, just the fun of how they twisted the usual trinity of characters in their Low Rule equivalents. Like, that was really fun.
Yeah. I really really liked Low Rule, but the depths just fucking
Oh yeah, the
rule.
depths feel like you've stumbled upon a cosmic horror story and you're like, what's going on? Why am I down here?
Now, I haven't played Tears of the Kingdom, so I don't know if this is actually the depths, but you said they did not show a frame of anything underground. The announcement trailer, they're underground.
The announcement trailer, they are not in the depths. They are
They're not in the depths. Yes,
Yeah.
but Bernard's fucking with us.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I
But
appreciate it.
yeah, the caves above, like in the above ground overworld, there are still a lot of those, and those are all still really cool. There's actually a really long, basically almost dungeon
It is.
that you
Isn't
don't even need to do. You just like you can walk above ground and get to the place that it gets you to on the other side. But if you want, you can go underground, and there's a bunch of like bosses and shit to fight, because why not? That's
it is so wild to me going in caves in Tears of the Kingdom and realizing there were no caves in Breath of the Wild, and just being like, I didn't even notice. Like if you pointed out to me before Tears of the Kingdom that, hey, do you know there's no like caves?
mm-hmm.
And is that a Zelda thing? I'd be like,
That's
yeah,
weird.
that is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, where'd they go? The answer was Tears of the Kingdom.
There are a couple caves in Breath of the Wild. Like A, you start out in one. B, there's the one that's shaped like a bird for the find the place that's shaped like a bird.
But they're very small parts of the game.
Yeah, and there are so many caves in here that there's a special collectathon that you can do in all of the caves above ground, plus the giant chasm that is the depths. It is the game is good. The
game is very good.
There was a meme that was Spider-Man and Zelda in 2023. Man, the last one was probably the best one of all time. There's no way that they could ever top it. And then both of them were like, and yeah.
I really need to play Spider-Man 2 at some point.
I was talking about Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man 2. I was talking about Across the Spider-Verse, for the record. I haven't played number 2. But yeah.
I really want to play Spider-Man 2 though.
I do too.
Because I really enjoyed Spider-Man.
First one.
I really enjoyed.
Aside from the propaganda bits, it was very good.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that was a weird part of that game.
Yeah, it was such a weird part of that game. It basically rubs your face in like one of the most problematic and shitty parts of any superhero like property. Is just that idea of like the criminal, the inherent criminal. Oh, they're out on the streets, and it was just like, let's turn that up to 20, and it was like, bad idea. I didn't think that.
Which is one of the things I loved the most about Miles Morales is they were like, yeah, we saw that and we agree. So now all our main bad guys, we're not confident enough to make them actual cops, but they're going to do like, you can't record us, sort of like very much the cops sort of things. And Miles entire thing is he doesn't work for the cops, he works for the people. So he makes his own. He doesn't have a police scanner. He has an app that people can say, "Hey, I'm having trouble. I need a Spider-Man," and he comes to do it. And it's so good.
That's very good.
It is definitely a response to Spider Cop from the first game.
Yeah.
Um,
I've got
Spider-Man
go ahead,
2, I'm sure, is fantastic. I have every belief it's fantastic, but apparently there were lots of people that were surprised or disappointed or something that didn't win Game of the Year, and I'm like, guys, Tears of the
Sorry.
Kingdom and Baldur's Gate 3 came out this year.
Like,
And Alan Wake
yeah.
2, and lots of shit came out this year.
2023 was for video games what 2022 was for film. Like, sorry that the one you didn't get up there, but there's too many contenders. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
My favorite part about 2023 for new releases is there are so many games that are like, oh, these are kind of like monumental game-changing games, and we have like 4 or 5 of them. But the like B tier stuff where I like to live, I basically only added Final Fantasy 16 and Spider-Man 2 to my backlog this year. I'll probably play Baldur's Gate 3, but I'm not that huge into like computer RPGs. Though I hear
Neither
it's
am I, but
It's so fucking good. It's so
I hear
good.
it's the follow-up to Mass Effect that all of the Mass Effect games haven't been, and that's made me really interested in it.
I'm
But
pouting now.
yeah, so like it's just bonkers how like I agree, Spider-Man 2, no matter how good it is, it couldn't compare to the vast number of best game of all time contenders that came out this year. But also there weren't enough like stupid anime games this year, and those are the ones that I want to play.
Yeah. There are a lot of games that came out this year that like I heard some people just like absolutely losing their minds about Octopath Traveler 2, and I want to play it so bad, but there are
I
so
want to
many
play
games
it
that came
so
out this year.
bad. I want to play it so bad, but I have no money.
I have it downloaded, but when will I have time to play it? That's
Yeah.
the thing.
Too
I
busy
have
playing Tales of Destiny Director's Cut.
yeah, and Rune Factory 5.
Can I do my last award, please?
Yes.
I've only got one left, which is generated the most lore award, which goes to Sentinels of the Multiverse. If people don't know, Sentinels of the Multiverse started life as a cooperative card game that at some point got a video game version. It's on Steam, which is how I've played it. I have not played the physical version personally as of yet. I am big into superheroes, especially I am unfortunately a giant DC fangirl who also has a couple of Marvel franchises she really likes. So Sentinels of the Multiverse being a very superhero flavored thing where they are taking specific references and pot shots at different aspects of the big franchises while also really making it their own lore with their own characters and their own world and everything is just really fun. But specifically for this year, me, my sister, and a friend of mine started playing the three of us together every so often. And what will end up happening is we just start role playing as we're playing and like having our characters banter with each other and talking about like these character combinations as like a specific superhero team. And it's like actually generating lore for this freaking stupid universe in my head that I have to devote time and energy to. And I love that. I love it so much. This is a very fun game. I'm just gonna recommend this game to people. It's very fun to play with other people. Just be aware it can also be extremely difficult and punishing. And you can sometimes just get completely screwed over. But very fun. And it's cooperative instead of competitive.
I have always wanted to play it, but I have a card game about superhero comics that I'm working on, and I didn't want to cross contaminate. But
understandable.
But I also haven't touched that one in about 3 or 4 years, so maybe I should just file it away somewhere and just play Sentinels of the Multiverse because it's always looked really, really cool.
If you ever want to hang out and play, I would absolutely love that. It's very fun. I'm gonna throw out there as my favorite bit of lore detail because it's one of my favorite ones. And I'm like, I don't feel like this just feels wholly original. Like this doesn't feel like it's really a reference to anything. There was a villain early on who is La Capitan, who is a Spanish pirate woman who has a time traveling ship, and so has assembled a crew from all throughout time so she can go around stealing things. And then during a big crossover event, a new hero appeared, La Comadora, who is her from the future as an old woman who's become a good guy. And
Amazing.
and then there are alternate versions of the heroes you can unlock. And so at some point there is an alternate La Commodora who is her younger self at the inflection point where she starts to turn from villain to hero. And I just adore that out of order, silly time travel storytelling. And also her deck is just really fun to play. But yeah, that's my last award. I really enjoy this. I'm not a multiplayer game person. I have to be pulled and dragged to play multiplayer games.
Mhm.
And I have 2 on my list to give awards to. So thank you to the people in my life who've been pulling me by the hair to play these games.
What about you, Bernard? Do you have any more?
There's just a lot of games that I enjoyed playing this year. I enjoyed playing Metal Gear Solid on the podcast with Sam and Maddie Grace. I had played that before, but it was really fun to revisit. Games wild, games
Mhm.
hard, games dense.
Yeah.
Game is meaningful, game is impactful. Also, let's see. I played my first Pico 8 game this year, which was the original version of Celeste.
Nice.
That was really fun. The full version is, of course, a lot more game,
Mhm.
but playing the original was also cool. And I replayed Paper Mario, which is an absolute masterpiece with a few parts that sort of drag a little bit, but I won't be upset if I have to play it again for this podcast.
Yeah. I have just 4 quick ones left, and I won't spend too long on all of them. But my favorite game that I replayed this year, it was Mega Man Legends 1 and 2. Uh, they're they're really really good, and the fact that it's probably, like, we looked this up on the JRPG canon, we couldn't find a definitive answer, but it is probably the first third person shooter game. Like, a lot of people give it to um Tomb Raider, but Tomb Raider is like a platforming game where you have guns, but Mega Man is a over the shoulder, you shoot at the middle of the screen, you strafe and run around things game, and it's probably the first one of that. And this whole genre being the first one being a Mega Man spinoff is kind of hilarious and cool to me. And the games rule for very different ways. The second game is a Zelda, the first game is a Metroid, and both of them are early third person shooters and also RPGs. And it's kind of bizarre that they didn't do as well as Capcom wanted to, and so they fired Inafune and canceled Mega Man Legends 3 for the 3DS. But
I
no,
have one I just thought of,
uh,
which is not for a game I played, but my biggest surprise this year was Lies of P, because one, it's turned out it was a real game and not something that I dreamt.
yeah,
But it actually came out, and then I watched a streamer play some of it, and I was like, this looks really good.
yeah,
And then everyone started saying, this is really good. And I'm like, that's so weird. I love it. Good for them.
yeah. I don't think I would have ever thought that a Souls-like based on Pinocchio would be good, but apparently it's really good.
Yeah.
Its name is bad though. Lies of P is a bad name. They should have workshopped that.
Yeah. when I was watching the streamer play, they got to what I came in a little bit into the stream, but I think this was the first major boss in the game. It was this giant puppet. They're robots, but they call them puppets.
Yeah.
That had a really tall, thin top hat on its head. Just because that's sort of the visual style this game has. And then, like, halfway through the battle, after you do a certain amount of damage, he grabs the top hat, pulls it, his head comes off with it, and he uses his head as a club.
That's amazing.
And I'm like, this rules.
Yeah.
Dudes rock.
Yeah, maybe I'll play it, but I feel I should play like a regular Souls-like before I play the weird Pinocchio one. But I'm also
now I want a Pokemon Souls-like.
Ooh.
Because you almost said Pokemon.
Yeah. Remember a couple years ago where Pokemon was like, what if we made a Tekken and what if we made a League of Legends? And both of those turned out to be good. Keep that energy, Pokemon. Just give us a multiplayer big ass Monster Hunter ass Souls-ish game where we go out and we fight a giant Gyarados or something. Yeah, that's for free. Y'all can have it.
As humans. We fight them as
Don't
humans.
give it to them for free. They can afford to pay you for it.
They can pay me an exposure. It's fine.
No!
I'm not. I'm
As
being
your agent. No.
So another game that has been on my backlog for forever, but I hadn't actually played any of it yet, wins the award for best marathon session. When I went down to Texas when my mom passed away, I brought my 353V and I binged the entirety of Breath of Fire 4, and it's good. It's not revolutionary in the way that everybody says Breath of Fire 3 is, but I haven't played Breath of Fire 3, so I don't know. But it is just beautiful from start to finish. Nothing about it is terribly complicated or hard. It has a really good sense of place in it. Like all of the towns feel like a new place, and they feel like they're doing cool things as you go along, and it's absolutely gorgeous pixel art for the PlayStation, and I love it a lot. I will also not be mad if we have to replay it here in a couple of weeks. Another one that it wins the best, quote, actually is a 16-bit throwback, and we don't just say that because we made it an RPG Maker, end quote, game. So many games on Steam are like, oh, 16-bit throwback, and it's like, no, you just made it an RPG Maker. You're not actually doing classic RPG stuff. But Sea of Stars actually is, and Sea of Stars Maddie hates completely, and I don't know why. When I started it, they do the...
Have you noticed that Maddie Grace is a hater?
Yes.
That might be why.
I don't know if I'm the person, just a little bit, maybe just a little bit.
Yeah. But yeah, it is pleasant all the way through. Parts of it are really, really good. Parts of it are like, oh, they were either on a time crunch, or they ran out of money, or they just didn't focus on this part of the game as much as the rest of it. Like, it has a... spoilers for being a 16-bit throwback. It has a dark world that you go to in the late half of the game. Who'd have thunk it? But
who would have thunk it?
But the everything in the dark world part is meh. Like, nothing about it is awesome, and you also get like 2.5 party members in that part, which is too much. Like, in Final Fantasy VI, you get all of your party members in the first half, and then you recontextualize all of them in the second half, and that feels good. Imagine if you were playing Final Fantasy VI, and after you got your entire party together, you added just 2 new people along the way. They would feel weird and tacked on.
Realm and what's his name?
You get them in the first part, don't you? Get that.
I don't know, but they always felt weird and tacked on to me.
I mean, yes. But basically they would feel like Go-Go, but instead of being an alternate character, they're like, no, Go-Go and Umaro are really important to the plot, and we just have to deal with them, and they've been here for 12 seconds. But Yeah, it has some weirdness in the back half, and kind of a bit ends pretty abruptly. And they do a throwback to Chrono Trigger, where there's a bunch of side quests that you can do to then get a different ending at the end. But instead of it being okay, we don't know what to do, but I guess we can go fight the final boss, or we'll just explore around and stumble upon all these things. You have to get the bad ending, and then it unlocks the ability to do the other
Oh.
ones. So
Hmm.
my brain says I beat the game, so I'm not going to go get the good ending. But even though the good ending involves my favorite character, I'm not going to do it. But yeah.
I did play back when it came out. I played The Messenger,
Mhm.
which is by the same studio, and I
Yeah.
believe takes place in the same world. And that game rules.
If it does, that'd be super cool. I'd be willing to play around in this world more. But
It's a like 2D hardcore action platformer game,
mhm.
and it's real good.
Yeah. And the last one that I have is not a video game, but it's just Deck in general. They went from being a kind of bad command line program to pretty. They deliver on the promise that RetroArch gave us, where they're like, "Oh, RetroArch, we want it to be a thing where there's it's super easy for everyone to set up, et cetera, et cetera." But because it's really big, it became too big, and now it's not easy to set up. And now Deck is out for Windows, so you can use it everywhere, and you just download it, and it solves all the things you need it to, and you just it it made retro gaming like easy again for the first time in a very long time, and it's so cool, and I really really like it, both on the Steam Deck, and I have it installed on my gaming computer now that it's out for Windows. And it's just, I don't do all of the extra stuff that I do on the Steam Deck, where I like import it into my Steam library and all that other jazz. I just use it because it makes playing retro games good and easy, and I don't have to worry about it, and I know that all of the controls are going to be set up correctly, and all of that, and it's just good, and I like it a lot.
Mm-hmm. Emu Deck rules.
Yeah.
Yay!
I want to give a incomplete list of all the games that came out this year that I want to play.
Mm-hmm.
I want to play The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, Alan Wake 2, Final Fantasy 16, Fire Emblem Engage, Diablo 4, Pikmin 4, Baldur's Gate 3, Octopath Traveler 2, Spider-Man 2, Sea of Stars, Master Detective Archives Raincode, Pseudo Regalia, Thirsty Suitors, Stray Gods, Chants of Sonar, Lies of P, Cocoon, Assassin's Creed Mirage, Sonic Superstars, World of Horror, Jusant, WarioWare Move It, Persona 5 Tactica, Dragon Quest Monsters: The Dark Prince, Sonic Dream Team, and probably some more.
Thank you for reminding me that WarioWare Move It came out this year. I'd forgotten, and that's another game that I desperately, as someone who's always loved the WarioWare franchise, I definitely want to get that.
WarioWare Move It looks so good, and I've heard it's good, and I'm glad, because I wasn't really a fan of what's it called, Get It Together, or
Mm-hmm.
WarioWare. What's that? What is it called? The
The
last Switch
DIY
one.
one?
No, the last one on uh Switch. Yeah, Get It Together. I didn't like that one too much.
I did not play that one.
It's not that good, but I hear
Similarly,
Move It is good.
uh, games that I have not played that came out this year that I really really want to play, is Atelier Ryza 3 and Dredge, and
Dredge sounds cool.
Dredge sounds super cool. Um, uh, let's see. I'm
Oh,
scrolling.
Resident Evil 4 remake.
Resident Evil 4 remake. I really want to play. Um, the System Shock remake. I really want to play. Final Fantasy 16. I really want to play. And Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. That's the other big one that's on my list from this year.
I would want to play Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, but I've not yet played and understood what I was doing in Jet Set Radio, so I
Mm.
want to do that first.
Yeah, for someone who Jet Set Radio Future is one of my absolute most important games that changed my brain in the way that Trish was talking about earlier. I don't really like the first one that much. I just can't get into it for whatever reason. So
Same, unfortunately.
I'm hoping that Bomber Cyberpunk is a little more future and a little less Jet Grind Radio. But
Oh, I remember some more games from this year that I want to play.
go for it.
Oh,
I want to play Little Goody Two Shoes,
Oh yeah.
El Paso Elsewhere, The Making of Karateka, Void Stranger, Paranormacite, which we talked about. Probably some others. Did Pizza Tower come out this year? Yeah, it came out in January.
Yeah,
So
Pizza
Tower.
Another one on mine that I forgot to mention that I want to play next is Fashion Dreamer for the Switch. I'm a big sucker for all the Style Savvy games, and I don't know why they didn't call this one Style Savvy, and I would love to play it and figure out. See if it's super different, so that or they wanted it to be the same, or if it's the same thing and they just had a name refresh.
you've both already talked about all of the games this year, basically, that I would like to play at some point. So mine is going to be a game that I want to replay. The person who I played through Disco Elysium with, and I also played through Slurpg with them this last year. I found out recently one of my favorite games ever is one that they have not played. So I'm probably somewhat soon going to be going through with them and playing through Valhalla Cyberpunk Bartender Action, which
Nice.
I just adore that game
Mhm.
from top to bottom. So looking forward to that. And then I guess just my last thing would just be not a game I'm looking forward to playing or a game I have played, but looking back at 2023, please correct me if I'm misremembering here, but I believe this is the year that I joined as one of the hosts of the podcast,
Mhm.
and I've loved it. I love being on here. I love talking to both of you. All the new games you get to help me experience, and it's just a blast, and I'm looking forward to another year of it next time.
Aw, thank you so much.
I have really enjoyed doing this podcast with you. Your original appearance as a guest host was last year, but yes, joining as
Yes.
a permanent host was this year.
Yeah, it has been great to have you. It was so when Eli was leaving, me and Maddie were like, well, obviously the person we offer it to is Bernard. And then when Maddie was leaving, me and Bernard were like, well, obviously the person we're offering it to is Trish. So it's been fantastic to have you back and have you going forward.
Being the first choice like that was not expected, and it still kind of makes me a little teary-eyed, and it makes me happy. Thank you so much for thinking of me and inviting me to do this with you.
Absolutely. So yeah, I think even though I did see another game that came out this year that I wanted to talk about, let's end on a
Hi-Fi Rush.
lovey-dovey thing. Was that this year?
I
it
think
was last
so.
year. But yeah, there's a lot of good games, and I'm excited to see what new games this next year I will add to my backlog and never play.
Hi-Fi Rush came out in January.
Nice. So yeah, that will do it for this week. If you like what you heard, you can head on over to www.rpgbook.club, where any and all donations help us cover the cost of running the show, making it better and better. If you set up a recurring monthly donation, you also get some additional benefits. If you donate $1 or more a month, you get access to our bonus feed, where for the past 2 weeks, we haven't posted of anything, but this week we did a New Year special. It's too late to listen to it because it's a live thing that we're doing tomorrow as of recording, a couple of days ago as of the time you're hearing this, where we're just hanging out in the Discord all day long playing games, and that's a thing that only backers get to do.
Yeah, and
Um,
I've made a list of games that I want to play on this stream, and I have a feeling that some of my answers for favorite game experiences of the year would be different if we were recording this on January 1st, because I got some fun stuff planned.
yeah, me too. Um, you also will get access to our polls to decide what we play next on the main feed. Right now, we have a big knockdown, drag out fight between all of the games that have ever lost a poll on our podcast, and there are 16 of them going up against each other. Currently, I believe Paper Mario 1 is in the lead, and then the second place is a highly contested. Like it could be one of 6 things right now. So if you hate Paper Mario, first off, you don't have to support the show. It's fine. We don't need you here. Second off, if you
I would
if you hate it,
I would truly prefer those people if they didn't.
yes. But if for some reason you don't want us to play Paper Mario, you can go and vote against it because it's a ranked choice voting. So there's one game. I don't want to say which one it is. But there's a game that a lot of people have voted as number one. They want us to play it, but 2 or 3 people said absolutely not and voted it in last place. And now it's like halfway down the list, like 16 points is a lot of negative. So if you don't want us to play Paper Mario, you can go and basically fuck up its chances.
If you do that, I will hate you forever. You should be aware.
But yeah,
my enmity will become unquenchable.
Yeah, since we're doing it in ranked choice, there's no like clear winner right now. There's not like one that everybody voted number one. Like everything is winning by the virtue of how ranked choice voting works. So that can get fucked up really easy if anybody comes in and votes against it. So
I love Maddie Grace. I'm glad she's not here so that we don't have to hear a very long explanation of how ranked choice voting works.
Yeah. The game you want us to play, you vote number 1. The game you don't want us to play, you vote number 16.
Here's wait. Let me step in. I'm Maddie Grace's replacement. I'm the resident trans girl. Let me please explain the political thing about ranked choice voting. You rank your choices when you vote.
Nice. Nice. You did it. But so yeah, if you donate $5 or more a month, we'll also shout your name at the end of every episode, just like this. Shoutouts to Cerebral Wind, It's Clear Time, Frost Terror, Dragon Slayer 19, Floris, Kaldron, Freddy Rodriguez, AA Ron 524, and JFro Prime. And then finally, if you love us so much that you want to donate $20 or more a month, you also get to make me say a sentence of your choosing to say whatever you want, be it a plug or just some fun words to say. So shoutouts to El Tantavi, who wants you to check out critical-distance.com, an aggregator for games criticism and journalism. Shoutouts to Vimk, who has convinced me. I'm going to play Legend of Legaia as part of the stream tomorrow. There you go, Vimk. I'm doing it finally. And they want you to do it too. And then shoutouts to Carr, who is a dentist, so he's not plugging a Twitch stream or a website, but rather your own mouth. And he says to brush your teeth twice a day. Most importantly, the time before you go to bed. For RPG Book Club, I have been Sam Allman.
I'm Bernard.
And I'm Trish.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Bye. That was a long one.
Yeah,
I'm
That
glad.
was fun.
I'm glad we wrapped it up when we did, because I suddenly remembered the Game Awards, and I would have brought it up and then gone on a long screed about how embarrassing it was.
it was so bad.
I'm very glad that I don't watch award shows and I don't care about them.
I'll say one thing. It is so embarrassing that every year the best voice acting award just goes to whatever character was the biggest meme. When Resident
Really?
Evil 8 came out, it was Lady Dimitrescu, and her voice performance is very good. but it's not the best of the year. It's just a good performance. It's not a big standout, but she was the meme character.
Yeah.
And then this year it was Asterion. And
Wait, really?
I'm
sorry, Asterion?
I've seen clips of his
He's very
performance,
good.
and his performance is good. But
he's not the best in that, even in that game, though.
But he's the meme character that everyone's horny for. So
wait, he's the meme. I guess I'm in lesbian circles too much. I'm just like, no, Karlach is the one that everyone's horny for, right?
Yeah.
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 The people are horny for a lot of people in that game.
I mean, that's fair. There are a lot of horny people.
Yes.
Several of them have horns.